No, I'm not going to slam that down. Hi everyone, I'm Aiden, and I like to build things, and today I want to talk about one of my favorite pieces of my collection yet again. But before I get into that, what's this? 2 hands? Yes, I have a microphone stand now, so hopefully handling these things on camera for you folks gets that little bit easier. So today I want to talk about, well, not this kit in particular, the SD BB Senshi Zeong, the one that comes with the perfect Zeong legs. This is more so just to sort of give you the general impression of the kit I'd like to talk about today. But the reason why I'm not talking about this one is, well, to put it honestly, I don't have a whole lot to say. And I feel like that would get very irritating. So the only things I want to comment on this kit is I love the panel lighting detail. I love that it comes with the perfect Zeong legs. It's almost entirely color accurate out of the box, with just the mono eye being a sticker and just missing the purple for the hip cannons. So yeah, we're not talking about this kit today. Now you might be thinking, oh, maybe I could be talking about the high grade Zeong, which as you can see I also do have. However, I feel like there are enough good videos out on YouTube already about this kit, so I feel like that would just be unnecessary. You can get the same things I would say from a different person with maybe a little bit better production quality. But my comments on this are just, it's perfectly fine. The elbow was only bending this much is a little lame, and obviously it's missing the purple in the hip cannons, just like the SD kit was, and the underside is plain if you don't paint it like I did. So yeah, we're not talking about that. And now you all know I do have a soft spot in my heart for retro kits, so you think I might be talking about my vintage original 1/144 scale Zeong, but really, unlike the Walker Gallia, I don't feel like I have a whole lot to say about this. I feel like a kit for this really speaks for itself. The only thing to me that I think stands out is just that with how simplistic the detail is and how kind of janky it looks, all things considered, I was mostly just surprised by how large this kit is in person. But I mean, it's the 1/144 scale, so it's the same size as the high grade, stands about as tall as the Gundam kit would that came out at the same time. Jesus, everything is a mess off camera here. You do not want to see that. Now, some of you might be thinking I'll be talking about the real grade Zeong, but again, lots of people have covered this one way more than the high grade, and they'll say pretty much anything that I'll say, so I don't feel like I have a whole lot new to add to this conversation, other than this is easily my favorite real grade, although I haven't built that many real grades, so maybe my opinion there is, I don't know, not that worthwhile, not that valid, but no, this is a lovely kit. That's all I'll say. No, I want to talk about something that I don't think gets enough representation on YouTube. Yep, this is not gonna all fit in frame, but here we have the Master Grade Zeong, not the perfect Zeong, just the Zeong. A kit that came out in 2002, actually 1 year after the high grade did, and I believe it's one of the chunkiest Master Grades ever, next to the Sazabi, the Faz, and then not to mention the perfect Zeong. But hopefully I can at least get all of this in frame, just so you lovely people can see that. Yeah, I mean, gimmicks and what to advertise are pretty limited. The Zeong, even in the original Mobile Suit Gundam, didn't really do a whole lot. Woo. Yeah, and they just give you a painted view, even with the pilot figure there. Oh, I just noticed they painted the piping detail in the underside in chrome. I don't know why I've never noticed that before. But yeah, if I take a moment to just crack this open real quick here. Way easier now that I can use both hands, you'll see mine actually does come with the old insert that Master Grades used to come with. And I honestly think I might just cut these little tabs off, maybe frame it and hang it like a poster on my wall, because I mean, it's a beautifully painted version of the kit. You even have a little Shar hanging out down there at the bottom. And then, as you can see, the runners are no longer in this kit. I actually don't even have the runners for this kit anymore. I got this a couple years ago, and after building it, pretty much threw the runners away. But I did keep this just because it's really special to me. But yeah, let me pack this back up. How you guys liking that shaky cam, huh? I need to get a better camera mount. Here's the big deal right here. Yeah, man. The Master Grade Zeong. Now, I don't know how much of this is going to pick up on my camera, but this has just pretty much been sitting on my shelf since I got it, basically. Uh-oh, my decals are peeling up. Yeah, I did a tiny little bit of painting to this, but I never top-coated it, just panel lined, added a little bit of silver and bronze highlights, and just put on the decals that it came with. Interestingly, it did not come with any dry transfers. It only came with sticker-style decals, and I think those are starting to peel off a little bit, which is very unfortunate, but at least this thing will still look pretty great even without those decals on it, because there's not that many of them on this kit. Very few. And especially for, I feel like, Master Grades from this era going into the 2.0 era, they liked putting caution signs and warning labels and pilot names and model numbers everywhere. This one is going kind of minimalist. You don't even get anything for like the shoulders, you just get these generic ones for the forearms and the Zeong logo, and you even get, let's see if I can get that to focus there, you get a Shar logo to go next to the, or on top of the model number, and then a designated pilot marking there above the opening cockpit hatch, which let's see if I can do this without any tools. Yes! Now, I do not think I'll be able to get enough light in there. Let me try this real quick. Yeah, you can just barely see in there my unpainted Shar figure. Yeah, he's got a lot of cockpit space in there, way more than you'd see on a 1/100 scale kit. I mean, look at it. This thing is monstrous, as it should be. It is the Zeong. Now, there is no molded cockpit in the head. However, there is a hatch that is very difficult to open on the back of the head. Jesus Christ. Believe me, this does open. Let me try one more trick here. I'm afraid I'm going to break this if I keep trying to open it. My precious baby. I don't want to ruin my precious baby. I think I was actually making progress there, and then I just closed it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that cockpit is horrible to open, and there isn't even anything in there. If I get my handy flashlight back out again, it's just a flat panel back there. Really only there just to be like, hey, this is how Shar got out of the head after the Zeong was destroyed. Spoilers for the original Gundam, but if you haven't seen it by now, I don't think you're ever going to see it, because it's a love it or hate it kind of anime, in my opinion. Let me actually take off the included stand here. You just slide it. Yeah, there's just these little hooks on the stand here that go into these little grooves, and the whole thing is held in there by a screw. And as you can see, I did opt to paint the underside of mine. Thankfully, the inner parts of these main thrusters here are separate out of the box. It's the same green color as the rest of the main thruster there, but I painted them silver because I like the way that looks. This, however, is all one big molded piece. Although, interestingly, this entire section under here articulates on its own. It's got its own polycap in there, but it barely moves. And I know the thrusters also barely move. Hardly at all. You get that little bit of spread, just a tiny little bit of up and down wiggle. Nothing like the real grade where they have the dropping hip component that gets it down and farther out. It doesn't do that expanding thing. This is a pretty bare bones underneath, but I imagine you're going to have this on the display stand the whole time. You don't really need to do anything crazy with this, nor could you get it into any poses where you can show off the bottom, because unlike the real grade, this thing has no ab crunch, just an arcing back. So you can't get any cool shots of it, like boosting away or anything like that. Yeah, onto the articulation, actually. The head spins, but that's because you can pop it off to do the escape pod thing that it does. And if I just set this down for a second so we can just take a closer look at this. The thrusters on the side of the head do move. No way to really put any effect parts in there unless you drill the hole yourself. To move the mono eye, you do have to remove the head, but you do have pretty much unlimited range. It goes left and right. Oh, that is going to be... That is not good. If you push it all the way to one side, it gets kind of stuck in there. I'm going to try my best to push it back out without damaging the sticker there. Yeah, so that's something to be careful of. Now, unlike the real grade, you don't have the implication of a track here. It's just a big empty space for you to move the eye all the way to the back if you even wanted to. And then once you have it in a pose you like, you just pop it back on the head. Appreciate where the eye is. But without that track in the head, you can see it really emphasizes how hollow this head is. And especially with how hollow this head is, I'm surprised there isn't cockpit detail in here. Nothing at all. The only cockpit detail you get is in the torso. And they don't even mold a hatch in there. That was new for the real grade. So this one just has just this weird port that goes into the hole on the head, or into the neck, I'm sorry. But yeah, back to the whole kit itself. You get one hinge at the base of the neck. Let me hold it better so you can actually see that. You have one hinge here, but then this hinges pretty much in the same spot. Imagine it's not literally a bar going all the way through there. It's peg in a hole, peg in a hole, peg in a hole, peg in a hole. But they're all aligned to each other, so, geez. That's as far back as the head arches. That's as far forward as it goes. They don't really intend for this thing to be leaning forward, only leaning backwards, but as you can see when you tilt the head back, you do get a little bit of vent detail there. Obviously, I've shown that the cockpit hatch opens. Each of these thrusters have just the tiniest little bit of movement to them. Even the two on the back. The shoulders, if you make sure the antennas aren't in the way, they butterfly, but not much. And that's mostly from the joint in there, because there's no real clearance for the shoulder to move, but it's so wide and so spacious in there that you get that front and back pivot, but not a whole lot. Also, I did paint silver on the inside of there. It does not come like that, but you get a full 360 spin there. A very loose poly cap in these shoulders. These love popping off on me when I'm trying to pose this kit, but can make it a little easier to demonstrate the rest of the articulation here. So as you saw, you get pretty much a 90-degree raise out of the shoulder there. A full 360 spin out of the arm. Now, by default, the hands will probably be something like, or the arms, I mean, will be something a little bit like this. And like the high grade, it seems that is the only bend you can get out of it. However, this is designed with just the slightest bit of extension, and that is not supposed to happen. I pulled on it too hard, but as you can see, just the slightest hint of a bend that gives you at least a full 90 degrees, and that's honestly the best you can do with this design as far as I can tell. I can't think of any other way they could have engineered more of a bend than that. But yeah, they at least learned from the high grade and gave it just this little part that slides. Also, these are me painting. The whole section here is in yellow. And then onto the hands, we do actually have a hinge joint. However, it really only gives you that inward movement, nothing really out. You can get a little bit of that from the ball joint that's buried deep in there with this little cuff that just kind of floats on top of it. And then as you can see here, pardon me if I sound a little congested, I actually kicked up quite a bit of dust just kicking these off the shelf. I really need to dust my collection more frequently, but as you can see, you have just the faintest hint of a bend in the thumb. The thumb itself is on a ball joint, and then all 4 of the fingers have a ball joint at the base and 2 extra hinges that really only let it curl up that much. Go out fully straight. One thing I will comment on this is that these were miserable to put together because each of these individual sections of each finger is its own piece with its own nubs and its own cleanup. And you need to be very careful to put the right ones in the right place because they are specific. I don't think they're different to each finger, but the positions are important as you need them to have the clearance for the bends. But yeah, you can get something vaguely resembling a fist if you wanted to. Otherwise, it's mostly going to be splayed out hand poses, but you can't even really splay out the hands that far. So all around, the real grade really improved on this by giving it the pre-molded real grade hands, so you just have a couple of nubs to clean off and then you can pose it as you see fit from there. I'm going to pop this back on here. I will also like to mention that much like the G Gundam kits and the Master Grade Dunbine, my previous video, if any of you haven't seen it, I unboxed that. Haven't built it yet, but like those kits, this kit has screws. You did already ideally see, let me get my handy flashlight again. Yeah, there's a little screw in there because this is where it connects to the stand. However, the arms and the torso also have screws in them. It looks like when I was building it, there is supposed to be, yeah, when I first built this, I couldn't get to this bit of articulation here. I think over time that is loosening up, but there are 2 screws making that joint possible, but honestly, I have no idea what you would need that articulation for, so I haven't really been missing it. But as I demonstrated earlier, you get nothing forward, but you get a little bit backwards, which is really the only angle you need for any of the poses that this stand can do, which I will show you in a moment. And then yeah, Zeong has no legs. I already showed you all of the movement that the thrusters have. So posing with this kit, it honestly is kind of static. The rail grade is way better because of the armor panels on the skirt that can open. This is one solid piece of plastic, and interestingly, isn't this a fun little comparison to show? This came out first, as I mentioned before. This came out a year later. Both of these have a single molded piece for their skirt armor, and I'll try to get a photo and put it up on screen for you people to see. But both of them are just the E-runner. Under all that plastic there is a little, like the little print with the text on it that all Bandai runners have, and it says that this chunky piece of plastic is the E-runner. And just look at it in my hands to kind of appreciate how huge of a piece the E-runner there is. So let me set that down so I can briefly show you the real dust collector. That is definitely coming up on camera. But this is the only stand you get. It is not compatible with any action bases. I also feel like this kit is heavier than any of the action bases are capable of holding up, because this is a very sturdy, very robust stand. Although the stand itself has no screws, just a poly cap here to let you lift this up, and then this, when lifted, allows you to adjust the angle of the stand. The problem I have with this, though, is that you're supposed to push it down to lock it into these teeth here, and as you can see, pushing it forward causes it to unlock. Now, if you have this sitting on a desk, that's not too big of an issue, although over time this will make the weight of the kit will make this joint come loose. And genuinely, when I went to pick this up, because let me put it back on the stand here, just to quickly show you folks again. You slot it in, push it back, not like that. 1 second here. You slot it in, push it back, and I could hold this from the base of the stand. It's not letting it go because it needs to slide in a way that gravity won't really be pushing it for it to come out. So it will hold the Zeong up well enough on its own, gives it a bit more shelf presence with these weird steps that it has. I do honestly wonder why the stand is shaped like this. Maybe it's just for rigidity, maybe it's for visual appeal. Looks like it's like a monument to the Zeong. But yeah, as I was saying, the weight of this kit, if you have it in any sort of leaning pose, like, it won't fall when it's sitting on a desk, but as soon as you go to pick it up, this is coming loose and the whole thing is going to come crashing forward to there, which thankfully, in the years I've had this kit and the few times that has happened, it hasn't fallen out of the stand or nothing, and nothing is broken on it, thankfully. But that is something, as the kit gets older, I become more and more wary of, for sure. And then the other accessories you get are a couple of wire cables with some extra bits of plastic on them. And then to match the stand that it comes with, you get these. I'll just hold up one for now. Again, very dusty. I don't personally display it with either of these, but I do leave it next to it on my shelf just in case I do. But yeah, the only thing that they have for articulation is this little arm here rotates. This doesn't spin, although you could just spin the whole base at that point. But yeah, they're stylized similarly to the Zeong itself's base. And what this allows you to do is, if I just extend his arm here, you pop it off very carefully. It's been a while since I've done that. It's quite tight. There is actually a polycap inside of this sliding joint in here, so it's nice and rigid for now because I don't really do this all that often, but since it's a review of this kit, I should probably show you. You pop the bigger plug, as you can see on the other one, into that hole there, and then the smaller plug, which I believe might be 3mm, I'm not quite sure, but that goes into this spot here. Come on now, yeah. But these hands are so heavy that the wires can't hold up the weight of them on their own. That's where these come in. This little tab right here. Oh, uh-oh, there goes the arm again. Goes into these thrusters here, and this is another reason I don't do this much, because this definitely scratches the paint, but it cradles it in there with that little peg to hold in, and then you can display it however you'd like. You do get like a whole foot, or like 30 centimeters worth of cable here. It's the same length of cable as the ones that came with the real grade. Hope that didn't make too loud of a noise for you. But yeah, these are way bigger than the real grade ones, and even the real grade couldn't hold up its own arms. I'm gonna take that out of there. You can kind of see a little bit of that is paint smudging, but I feel like doing that too many times will scratch up the paint, so just gonna pop that back into the arm there. Goes in way easier than it came out, and I guess you could count this as an extra bit of articulation, but I don't know why you would. You can spin the wrist on its ball joint, which I guess I also forgot to mention. Can you tell I'm not really a professional reviewer? You know, I just talk about things that I really enjoy, and you know, the Zeong is a design for Mobile Suit Gundam that I really, really enjoy. It's the only reason I have this, really, because this is kind of a bland kit. If you like things that are huge, things that are strange, things that are out of the ordinary compared to your standard Gunpla offerings, then I'd say, you know what, this might be a kit for you. But if you like a kit that can pose a lot, a kit that comes with a lot of accessories, or something a little more standard, obviously this kit is not for you. However, maybe the perfect Zeong would be more up your alley, because I believe you go from there to like there for the legs that thing has. I would love to have a perfect Zeong Master Grade in my collection, but finding one of those is difficult. Someone is selling it on eBay right now for about $300. Really out of my budget for right now. But yeah, so just to quickly finish, I want to try my best to do some size comparisons on camera here, but otherwise I will potentially cut to additional footage. I don't have an RX-78 on hand for this comparison. I do, however, have the Motoroid Zabungle, which is the same height as the Gundam, just for anyone wondering. And yeah, I don't know how well that's coming across on video, but these things stand at basically the same height. And if this thing had its perfect Zeong legs, it would be even taller. But as it is, it really is just aggressively wide. Not really that tall, like maybe 2 Figmas tall, but like 3 Figmas wide. Yeah. I will mention, I just remembered, this kit does have a standing figure, as you saw on the box, but I've misplaced mine. If you're wondering, it's the same color as the pilot in there, which is the same color as this, I'm going to call it sand blue. Shout out to all my LEGO fans out there, but sand blue plastic. So, unlike, say, the Zaku's Char figure, which at least comes in pink, which I feel like is more fitting for Char, the mold is basically the same between this one and the one that comes with this kit. But yeah, just give you a sense of how big the Zeong would be if you were to be standing next to it. Yeah, so this is the highlight of my Zeong collection, as it is by far the largest Zeong I have. Although I will say the presence that the real grade has is a little more eye-catching just because of how flashy it is. It can do a little bit more. Oh, and also there's no way to put beam effects into his fingertips, and you don't get anything of the sort. If I could just maybe, can I pop this off without breaking it? I don't think I can. These are in there pretty good, but there is an inner frame to these fingers that the armor goes around, so there's really no space for you to put any sort of hole in there, because I think the frame itself is just slightly larger than the tip of a beam effect part, so drilling would just be removing plastic at that point. So maybe you could finagle something with a bit of glue or cement, but yeah, out of the box, no options for beam effects anywhere, which could have helped with this kit's presence a little bit, I do think. But yeah, I'm just gonna put it back on the stand here, and I'm gonna angle him up so he can do his best to look at you lovely people while I finish off with my thoughts on this kit. If you want to spend $60 to $70 on a pretty static kit with a very unique design from a very iconic anime, go for it, man. I think more people should at least give this kit a try if they're on the fence about it. I will say, just as a little fun fact, I bought this kit from New Type back in 2022, and that was actually the first time I ever shopped with New Type. Actually, no, it was 2023. Still getting used to it being 2025. But yeah, I bought it off of New Type, and when I did, they said less than 10 left in stock, as they do for those things. They don't give you the exact number. And I noticed after I bought it, it was out of stock. Hasn't come back in stock since. Like, making this video now, they still don't have new ones, and I don't know when Bandai is planning on reprinting this, as I don't imagine a lot of people are buying it. So if you can find one for a good price, and it is something you're interested in, go for it, man. I think it's really great. As I've rambled on for about 30 minutes with, I'm just gonna set the rest of my little Zeong boys next to it here for a group family photo. This poor guy disintegrated on me off screen. I don't know where his head went. Oh, there it is. That kit is... I should have given it more care. But anyway, Thank you all for indulging me on another rant and ramble about something that I personally really enjoy that I don't think enough people are talking about. I hope that if you are considering getting this kit, that it does help you out. Yeah. So, with that all being said, I hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful afternoon, or a wonderful evening. See you in the next video.